How about you?
Perfect. I can hear you as well.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. Let me set up my camera. Okay, all good. Hello, everyone. You see my camera already? Hello, Kasper. Should we start?
Yeah, just a sec. I somehow missed my way. Here. Now we're back.
Yeah, if you can say your camera, yeah, that's gonna be perfect.
I
Okay,
think
yeah,
you should
awesome.
be able to see me now as well.
All right. I think we should start now. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back to our OpenGuild community call. And it's been like a while, like 3 weeks since our last global community call, and it's very great to right now, like we have the community call with Casper from Mythical Gaming, Mythos Change. And today we're gonna learn about the Mythos and also like how Mythos like apply Polkadot to build like a very scalable gaming infrastructure. So I'm gonna leave like the introduction part to Casper so that he can introduce more about the Mythos and also himself. So hello Casper, how are you doing?
Hey, Tin. I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me on the call. Yeah, very much looking forward to talk a bit more about mythical mythos and what we're doing for the Web3 gaming space and all of the things we're building on Polkadot as well. So very pleased to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So first, like, can you like introduce a bit about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been in the blockchain space and Polkadot since probably 2019, where I started out as a CFO for Web3 Foundation. So the ones of you who don't know what Web3 Foundation is, that's the Swiss foundation behind Polkadot Kusama. So sort of been with the Polkadot ecosystem for around 5 years or something right now. So been in there through the launches of both networks and the build up. I also did I did a startup with a few of my friends a couple of years ago called the Polymac Protocol. That's also on Polkadot for fundraising. I think they have quite interesting things coming out as well in the next couple of days, so you should definitely check them out as well. And then I joined Mythical as CFO in August last year. So it's been sort of a bit of a ride of both being on the Polkadot side, but also actually building using the technology as well.
Oh, that's cool. So I'm just curious because I'm a developer. So what like the daily life of the CFO?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's sort of like it's probably sort of like usually CFO is sort of like, oh, this is really boring, and it's sort of like finance stuff and so on. I think sort of when we're talking blockchain, it definitely is slightly different. because there's a lot more financial considerations also in relation to what you're doing on chain, obviously what's going on token markets and so on of being a part of that. So I think a lot of it sort of from more of the CFO angle is probably obviously financing, making sure everything works. Fundraising is a bit of what you're doing in the CFO position as well, and then obviously a lot of like general management of the company, budgeting, making sure that we actually live up to the budgets and so on. So I think that's more of like a general CFO, but I think in Web3 a CFO probably have more hats due to tokenomics, token economies, and so on as well.
So aside from that, like, are you also involved in like constructing a token model for a one blockchain?
Yeah, that would definitely be some of these things that will be part of the job as well. Like everything that sort of like touches the economic area of it is something that at some point will touch the CFO table as well. So definitely that's being a part of those discussions. Like I can code, but I can definitely discuss and figure out what works well from sort of like an economic angle. And then it's sort of like I think when there's then the interaction on the developer side is making sure also of like, hey, how do we actually implement what we want to implement, what is actually possible, and how to make it as user friendly as possible for the user.
I see. Also, because we are at the beginning of 2025, so I have a question for you. Would be how's your 2024? You know, like in 2024, there's been like a lot of things like going. There has been a lot of things happen in 2024, like AI narrative, meme coin, kind of things. So I just wonder, like, what's your perspective on 2024, and also your personal reflection on your journey?
Yeah, no, I think 2024 was a very interesting year. Definitely a lot of things happening. If we look at specifically on Mythical and what's actually happened in Mythical, then Mythical moved the entire Mythos chain from an Ethereum sidechain to the Polkadot network. We did that in, I think, late July and early September, and currently have like 6.3 million wallets in the on the Mythos chain on Polkadot. So definitely, I think that's sort of from a technical perspective is something that's really that's really interesting, and something that allowed us actually to scale quite a lot compared to what we did before. Then I think also what we have on the gaming side, I think we announced the game with Pudgy Penguins. That was announced early in 2024. And then I think late 2024 we also announced the FIFA Rivals games coming. So that's really some groundbreaking new games that we have coming that really will bring quite a lot of users and users on the Mythos chain and on Polkadot as well.
So you joined Mythos before it like on board on Polkadot or after?
So I guess it was sort of like just in the middle of it, yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, so maybe let me set the screen a bit. I also like repair some of the slide, so we're gonna go through like some of the questions that I already prepared for
Yeah,
today.
definitely.
Okay, so again, everyone. So today we're gonna talk about like Mythos on Polkadot, powering the next scalable gaming infrastructure. And we have like Kasper today. My name is Tin, as you're already familiar with me. Okay, so for anyone like who not familiar with OpenGuild yet, so OpenGuild is the open community driven by Web3, elevating builders on Polkadot. So OpenGuild is a community that like if you're interested in Polkadot, want to learn about the technology, want to build on Polkadot or connect with the people in Polkadot, feel free to join OpenGuild, and we have all the resources and also the onboarding flow to help you to onboard on the ecosystem. And right now we have like more than 3,000 builders in the whole Southeast Asia. Okay, we already learned about the Kasper. So we already mentioned about the Mythos, but to be honest, like from my personal experience, this also like the first time that I learned about Mythos, and I just researched a bit about the Mythos yesterday and today. So I also the first question for you would be like, what is Mythos chain? Like maybe like you can give us the explain like M5 sentence to explain about Mythos.
Definitely, we'll love to do that. I think it like Mythos is somehow sort of like I think the NFT and gaming chain that no one really heard about, unless you sort of been into to NFL Rivals, if you've been into to Blancos before as well. But I think very shortly put, like Mythos right now is actually the biggest NFT and gaming chain if you're looking at transactions. It's one of the things we actually we're monitoring it quite basically on a live basis. We actually have a dashboard on the Mythos Foundation website that anyone can go in and see, and actually can see how much activity is going on chain. So Mythos and the Mythos chain is basically the chain that's powering what we're doing on Mythical Games, and what we're doing on what we call Mythical Marketplace, which is a marketplace for in-game items from not only Mythical games, but also from third-party games. So really, what we can do with Mythos chain is that we can empower the gamer to own their own game assets, and make sure that they have the game assets directly available in their own wallet on the Mythos chain, and can obviously interact with those ones directly into the game, but can also trade these ones and swap them with other gamers directly and decentralized on the Mythos chain. So I think that's sort of very shortly what Mythos chain is. Right now we have roughly, I think we have roughly like 3 or 4 million transactions every month on the Mythos chain. If you look at sort of like the transaction space, this is actually a bit misleading, because there's actually more transactions going on, because what we're doing due to the Polkadot tech is that we're using a lot of like batch transactions, where a lot of the trades happens in with several transactions in one batch transactions on Polkadot. So actually even more is actually happening there. And with the volume that we have right now, we are bigger than if you look at both like Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, when they're looking at their volumes on NFT. The volumes that we have measured on transactions is just a lot higher.
So right now, like if I play like NFL Rivals or Blancos, under the hood is gonna be a blockchain, right? A blockchain transaction.
Sorry?
Right now, like if I play like NFL Rivals, under the hood it submit the blockchain transaction on every of my interaction, right?
Not necessarily on all your interactions, but what happens is that as soon as you download NFL Rivals, and you can download that from either the App Store or from the Google Play Store as well. Download it onto your phone, and every single player that starts playing the game will actually get a blockchain address on the Mythos chain. We don't go out and actually like show them all of these, like, hey, you get your 12 words and make sure you write them down, and if you forget them, then you're basically toast. We don't want to do that with all our gamers, but we want to make sure that it's very easy for them to actually come into the game, start playing, and then they can discover the blockchain tech and the benefits of that while they're playing. So what actually happens when you download the game is that we do not actually record every single action that you do in the game, but what we do record is that every of your game items is recorded on chain, and those ones will be showing up on your address on Mythos chain, and you can see them directly via either the app directly, so you can actually see your assets directly in the app. And you can buy and you can sell these items directly in the app, or you can use Mythical.market, where you can also see your entire collection of your game items, and you can sell them and you can swap them with other gamers.
As we're talking about like transaction, NFT related transactions, so I wonder like does it happen to like a marketplace, like OpenSea or anything, or it's coming from like your in-app marketplace from Mythos chain?
Yeah, so you can say Mythical Market is basically your marketplace for for any items that comes from NFL Rivals, but also from other games that you have. So right now, on Mythical Market is NFL Rivals. It's Blankos. That's our legacy Blankos game, but all your game items is actually there. And then we have, and then we do also have a third-party game called Nitro Nation that you'll also be able to see if you go into to Mythical.marketplace today. And that one is also a game that you can actually download directly from either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and start playing.
I see. Very interesting. So why do you need a blockchain for gaming application? As we talk a lot about like how the blockchain integrated to the game built on top of Mythos chain, right? So
Yeah.
I also like curious, like why you need a blockchain for that? Why don't you just use like a Web2 server to serve all those purposes?
So I think it's one of these things that's. I think Web3 Foundation has this motto of less trust, more truth, right? And going into sort of the more decentralization and the ownership part of game assets. So I think most gamers know that usually a lot of the games that they play, you set up an account with the game company, and then you can buy items on your game account. But it's also usually sort of like very seasonal. You have game items that you can use for one season, or you buy a lot of game items, then the new season starts, and then basically you start back from scratch. So that's one of these things that when we're looking at what you can do with Web3 technology is that you can actually allow gamers to outright own their game assets on their own account and manage those ones via decentralized blockchain. So it really is empowering the gamers to actually own their game items and having that as an additional element in the game. So as such, you could say you can trade your items directly. Usually, what we are seeing is that gamers really like to trade their game items for other items, but you can also go in and you can actually buy items, so you can sell items directly and trustlessly on the Mythos chain. So it's really giving ownership of the game assets to the gamer and empower the gamer and make the game better by adding this Web3 economy, where you both have the economy from the direct sales of game assets, but you also have a secondary economy in the games where gamers can trade and buy items directly from each other.
Are there currently any obstacle on building a resilient infrastructure for the gaming applications using blockchain right now? Because as I remember, blockchain also have some limitation in terms of transaction speed, right? So sometimes in gaming, the real time experience is quite one of the important things for any gaming application. So
Exactly, and that's why when you are developing a game with a Web3 element in it, you really need to figure out what is the need for the Web3 element, and how do you integrate that in the game so it doesn't actually change the gameplay. It should enhance the gameplay, not make it worse or make it slow. And that's actually one of these reasons why we also on the Polkadot ecosystem, mainly due to the fact that it's really important that the blockchain is live every single second of every single day, because otherwise you are just otherwise you don't have access in the game, and obviously that's a bad experience for the gamer that doesn't necessarily care for the fact that there is blockchain tech underneath. So you can have people owning NFTs or people owning crypto tokens, and they will be like, okay, fine, if other layer 1 blockchains are down, they will, yeah, it's okay, fine, I'll trade again in 2 or 3 hours or something. But for a gamer that is mainly in there gaming for the fun of the game, they actually don't care about the fact that hey, the blockchain is down, so your game is not working. That doesn't really work. So really making sure that the resilience is there, making sure that the chain actually works 100% of the time is really important. And then the next thing is also obviously the speed and the transaction throughput of the chain. What we are seeing right now with the transaction volume that we have on Mythos chain, and that is only with NFL Rivals being being on chain, we have the transaction volumes are so high that it will actually take out quite a lot of other more of a scalable blockchain, and can actually get the throughput that we need and the transactions per second that we need to make sure that not only can we manage the volume that we get from 7 million downloads of NFL Rivals, but when we get to Pudgy Party and when we get to FIFA Rivals, we're looking at download numbers of like 100 millions of people. So when you're talking 100 millions of people that are playing the game, then you really need to make sure that they can do all the transactions without any kind of delay on the blockchain side. And that's really why we are really excited about what we can do with Mythos chain and what we can do with Polkadot on the Polkadot technology.
Also, another concern that when you apply blockchain to gaming is the fee. Like as you mentioned, like there's millions of transactions happen on Mythos, right? But how do you handle the fee? Because the user doesn't have any, doesn't like acknowledge like the blockchain thing, the blockchain stuff like transaction and also like the fee. So how do they like deposit the fund to pay for the fee?
Yeah, so that's really one of these things of like how do you make the blockchain use case compelling for the gamer, and that's one of those reasons why we built both our Mythical Marketplace, but between the apps in that you have on your phone and the blockchain. So really what you can say is that that you really need to make it a smooth user experience, because a gamer doesn't want to have like, you need to go now to Binance and buy Myth. You can't do that right now, but hopefully sometime in the future you can buy it on Binance. But at least you can buy it on exchange. You can go to Hydration if you're in the Polkadot ecosystem. But it's a really bad experience if you just want to play the game. So what you can do in the game, and this is actually technology that we're the only ones that actually have, of having the direct interaction between the blockchain within your the app that you have on your phone. So on your phone, if you want to buy an item in NFL Rivals or in Nitro Nation, you basically go on your phone, you play the game, and say, "Hey, I want to buy this player," and you actually just buy that player in the same way as you would buy any other game items on any kind of Web2 game or any game that's not blockchain enabled. But behind the scenes, the game item is actually it's being minted, it's being recorded on your own account on the Mythos blockchain, and you can continue to play. And that payment, including the payment for the blockchain transaction, goes through that you're just paying via your Apple account or your Google account directly for the item. So there you can actually do it completely seamlessly, and you don't have to have any kind of understanding or idea that the blockchain is running underneath. Then you can go into Mythical Market if you want to like trade more items outside of the actual game. You can do that directly on the Mythical Market, where you can also interact with the chain by basically buying and selling directly with your credit card. But you can also attach your Myth wallet directly to your Mythical account, and then you can pay with Myth directly there. But when you're buying and selling a game asset, it will be completely automatically also accounting for in the transaction fee. That's all going on in Myth. So all the game transactions that you're doing is all settled in Myth on chain, and the user can pay in whatever currency they would like.
Thanks for a very detailed explanation. There's also one question from the audience related to this topic as well. Is like, why is gaming on chain a good idea? Like, I mean, we already have a very crazy market. The market itself is like a game. I feel like the hype and the excitement are all in the market, and gaming on chain doesn't seem to be able to compete. Yeah, can you help to answer that?
Yeah, I think it still goes into the ownership part, right? Because if you're playing a Web2 game, you have to trust that the game developer is managing your items in a proper way, and they can put out some kind of like and obviously this is like a centralized thing, so they can decide what you can do with your game items. They can even go in and they can delete your game items or something like that if for some reason they don't like whatever you have in your from the game. So what we really believe in is that the empowerment of the gamer to actually own their own game items. Like if when you download NFL Rivals and you get game items in your wallet on chain, those ones are yours forever. They are minted directly on your account on a permissionless network of the Mythos chain. So you are the one that actually owns what you bought or what you won in the game. So you're the ones having that ownership, and the fact that you can go in and we can actually enable to have a vibrant secondary market for in-game assets that has an effect on the gameplay subsequently. So you can, like, obviously the what you're using the game items for on NFL Rivals is you build up your team and you want to have the team the best way possible. Usually in a Web2 game environment, you buy all these items directly from the game publisher. What we do is that, hey, you can buy them directly from the game publisher, but you can also buy it from other gamers that are like, hey, I like this asset when I played like last month, but this month I want someone else, or maybe I want to like change my team out, and then I change some players, and then it's like, hey, I'm selling some players, I'm buying some new ones to actually optimize the team that I have in NFL. So it's very much a way of making sure that you actually have a great gameplay that makes the game fun, and then you have that secondary element that actually improves the gameplay for the gamer.
So for some games on Mythos right now, like, do you guys also design a mechanism that reflect to the price of the NFT? Let's say the NFT have the rarity attribute, right? Do you also like make some unique gameplay only for like some set of NFTs? Then like if the user want to play those feature of the game, they have to buy the NFT. Do you like design some mechanism like that?
So there's a lot of different mechanisms of what you can do, but what we actually have is that there are certain NFTs that or game assets that you can only actually get by playing the game. There are other assets that you can get basically by buying them directly, and the rarer items are actually items that you will get by playing the game. So you could end up having people that they played the game a lot, and then they actually got a super rare item that could actually improve their team quite a lot. But they could also decide of like, hey, now I played it, now I want to sell that item that I have for different items, and you can actually do that directly on the Mythical Market. What you can also do, and this is actually one of these things that's been extremely successful for us as Mythical, is that usually when you look at NFT markets, you end up with all these things about, as you talk about, like rarity, floor prices, all these kinds of things, which is very much sort of like a trading environment of like, hey, I'm looking at the value of my NFTs, and how do I sort of like how do I trade these ones, and do I like the ones I have? What we can actually do on Mythical Marketplace, and you can also do that directly in the game, is that you can actually swap your game items for other items. So this is what we call quick trades, where you can go in and you can say, hey, I want to have this. If we're talking NFL, then you can say, I want to have a Travis Kelce game asset because I really want him on my team. So he might be quite expensive. So let's say he's like $200 or $300, and you're like, I'm not going to pay $300 for this game item. This is too much for me. I don't want to use that. What you can do is that you can say, hey, I really want Travis Kelce. So you can mark him and say, hey, I really want this game asset, and then then you can go through everything that you have in your wallet, all the game items that you have, and you can then select items that you can sell to trade for the Travis Kelce asset. So you can say, hey, I have these like 5 items that I want to sell. those 5 items have the same price as the Travis Kelce asset that I want. So if I really go, if I go in there, then I can say, hey, I want to actually make this trade. But what you're doing is that, and what happens behind the scenes on the Mythos chain is that you might be buying that asset from let's say Alice, but then you are selling your 5 different other items to Bob and to Charlie instead, because they are the ones that actually want to buy the assets that you want to sell. So you can actually do a transaction that we execute in one atomic transaction on chain, where you can actually sell up to, I think it's 11 different assets that you can sell to make sure that you actually have enough assets to do that transaction. And that all happens directly on chain without any kind of additional payment from the player. So you're basically just swapping like 5-6 assets for another asset that you really want, and that happens directly on chain. But all your gas fees and settlements with all kinds of different people that own these items happens and be settled directly on chain in basically one transaction.
All these happen in the batch transaction way, as you mentioned in the early of the community call.
Exactly. Yeah. There's actually this for the ones that are sort of really into the tech behind it. If you go to mythical.market, there is we actually have on the front page, there is this like live ticker where you can actually see every time an asset is actually traded. So you can't necessarily see which ones are normal sales or which ones are like a larger quick trade, but you have links directly to the block explorer of Mythos chain, and you can go in and you can actually see directly what happens on the chain for every single item that is traded on the market in real time.
I see. Next question would be like, why Polkadot? I think that you already mentioned about why you guys choose Polkadot, but to extend the question a bit, like there's a lot of super chain solution out there, like Optimisms or zk Syncs. So I'm so curious, like why you guys choose Polkadot to build your infrastructure.
So it's really to make sure that mentioned before that we have a very resilient chain behind what we're doing on Mythical. Also that we have full flexibility to do exactly what we want on our own chain. So that's really something. I think it's only Polkadot that actually have that opportunity that you can actually build your full chain completely. It's not a set of smart contracts or anything like that behind it, but you have full reign of what you want to do. And then definitely the scalability of Polkadot is something that is unmatched by anyone else. Right, I think right now we're running probably like 20-30 TPS on the Mythos chain with the transaction volume that we're doing. I think if you're looking at a chain like Base or something, I think Base runs 50 TPS for the entire chain. So if we took Mythos chain, chucked it on Base, we would take out half their volume immediately. Which, if we're looking at peak transactions, I think we were running peak transactions when we were doing the migration. I think we were running 320 TPS or something at that time. And obviously that's something that it would just like on Base, it wouldn't be able to actually execute that in the speed that we actually need. And to have something where you actually have a volume that is so big with so we are expecting that when we come in probably mid next year, we will be around 100 million downloads of our games, which obviously creates a lot more transactions on chain, and we need to make sure that we actually have full flexibility that the chain can actually scale and cover that. And I think what we saw on Polkadot is that I think the spammering on Kusama went to 143,000 TPS, I think. So at least we can onboard a few gamers before we hit that limit on the on Mythos chain. But definitely having like a resilient, highly scalable and decentralized chain is something that's really important for us. And we can really see that Polkadot can deliver on that promise.
How many cores like Mythos chain is using right now? A number of Polkadot per chain cores.
Yeah, so
Just curious.
right now we're basically just running it as a parachain, so it runs its own core as it is right now. But I think that's one of these things that we can see now um, with being able to switch to core time and that you can actually add additional cores if that is needed for the scalability that we need. So it's really something that it's flexible in Polkadot is flexible enough to actually have that massive throughput volume because you can just buy additional cores and add additional cores when needed.
Mm. Yeah, so I visited the subscan of and I found this monthly chain, and to me it's very impressive compared to like one of the top price chain in ecosystem, which is Moonbeam, and Moonbeam currently got like 150 as the peak for this recent period, and but this one like Mythos reached already like 40 millions, and that's quite interesting from my perspective. The another metric that I found is the daily account. So right here, it say like the daily account, active account is 50,000 and the new account is 4,000. My question for you would be like, where are these account coming from? Like, are they coming from the games itself?
Yeah. So these accounts come directly from gamers that are coming into the game. So what happens when a new gamer downloads downloads NFL Rivals or Nitro Nation from the App Store or from the Play Store? They get an account immediately because they need an account to store their game items in. So they actually get that directly created from the game that they are playing with. They can then claim that account by setting up an account on Mythical.market. And there you can actually see your blockchain address there. And then you can go in and you can obviously see directly on the blog explorer what kind of assets do you have in your account. You can also link it to your self custody wallet, so you can pay in additional myth or withdraw myth directly to your self custody wallet, or you can also add additional myth to that account by paying in with a credit card or similar transactions to increase your balance, so you can actually buy and sell more assets on chain. So this is directly related to the game. Of course, when you're just looking at account creation, active accounts, that will also be transactions if someone is doing transactions directly in Myth. But since all asset transactions are settled directly in Myth, they both things will count here.
A bit about like the low level technical stuff. So as I remember, like Polkadot doesn't have any like account abstraction solution yet, because like when I try to build a solution for before, like I don't find any like account abstraction stuff. So I just wonder like when the user sign in to the games, do they sign in like using like email and then like you create a wallet? But I wonder like how can like you like store the private key of that account?
So that's actually one of these things. Like when you talk account abstraction, then Polkadot does have sort of, I guess it depends on how you want to call it account abstraction or not. But like what we're actually using behind the scenes is is proxy accounts. So what we're doing is that every single user will get their own account, but it's managed directly by a proxy through the Mythical Marketplace. So you can say that proxy wallet that is managed on Mythical Market can move your items and engage with your items when you want to sell or buy items directly on the marketplace.
Okay, so about the upcoming upgrade of Mythos Gen. So I also like found this on the Reddit of Mythos, like Mythos 2.0. And there's a lot of things I like over here, like on-chain governance and also like native token staking proposal. So can you help us to maybe like break down the Mythos 2.0 like briefly? Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I think everyone should go to mythos.foundation/analytics. On that site, we actually are measuring the chain, and we are showing the analytics of the chain in real time. Some of the things that's really interesting here is some of the changes that we are going to implement. Probably actually sort of like, let's say next couple of weeks should be implemented. Then we are safe. But that will be both staking, full on-chain governance in a Polkadot style on Mythos chain for everything that's happening there. Plus, what we're looking at is that we are also making changes to gas fees. So what actually changes there is that, first of all, we're going to start burning gas fees. So any gas that actually comes in from transactions will now be burned. But what we're also doing is that we're actually increasing the gas fee on chain. What we have seen so far is that that gas fees has been so small that it's been like a fraction of a cent or something like that, which obviously doesn't really make sense in when you're looking at the token economic model. So what we proposed and what was approved by the community is that we are going to 7x the gas fee, which means that all of a sudden gas fee will really change on how much gas is being used on a daily basis on the Mythos chain. So let me just get it up here so then I can give you live numbers of what it looks right now. So if we are looking right now for the last 7 days, almost 48,000 myth were used for gas fees. And look at that when we're doing the upgrade, then all those gas fees will actually be burned, and then we are 7xing them. So all of a sudden you can see you have 350,000 myth every 7 days that will be burned with the current volume that we have. So that's a really important factor on how we are seeing Mythos 2.0 of making Myth actually a fully deflationary network with the economy that we have on chain. What goes on top of the burning of the gas fee and the increase of the gas fee is that we are also implementing staking. So for the first year, Mythos Foundation is actually going to support that staking with Myth from the treasury. So there will be no inflation for the first year. And we have there is an allocation from the Mythos Foundation of 50 million tokens for the first year of staking. What we can see then is that once with the fee burning that we have, with the volume that we see coming in from the game, and even after that year, when staking rewards potentially needs to be issued from inflation on chain, which needs to be decided by governance at a late stage, we will actually burn so much token from the use of the chain that the chain will still be inflationary over time. So we're really seeing this as a really strong change to the token economy for the Myth token, and actually having like a token that really fundamentally actually drives value, looking at how much it actually used by the user.
There's one part of the future of Mythos 2.0 is the new games. I'm curious, like what kind of those, like what are those games? So right here, I also like found a picture of Pudgy Penguin. Because I'm like big fan of Pudgy, so I also like include the Pudgy game here. So I also like I'm curious, like what are those games? Can you like give us sneak peek?
Definitely, obviously, I think the two biggest games that we have coming out, and those are the ones coming out from Mythical, is FIFA Rivals and Pudgy Party. So those ones will be ready really soon. FIFA will come out in the summer. Same with what we're looking at for the Pudgy Penguins game. So those ones are really coming along really well. But what we also have is that we're looking into third-party games. So if you're looking at what we have on Mythical.market right now, we do have Nitro Nation. So Nitro Nation is is actually co-developed by Mythical and a company called CM Games. They've done previous versions of Nitro Nations that had I think 80 million players in the game. But that one is coming out right now as well. But what we do is that we are adding more games from third-party game developers on Mythical Market. I think we currently have, I think, 4 additional games that we know will come on to the platform. All of these ones are unannounced, so I cannot tell you which games that we are talking about. But really, what we're looking at is getting AAA games on the Mythical Market, and actually increase the possibility of using Web3 in third-party developers' game as well.
Observation, like right now, most of the game on Mythos are quite high quality, and I wonder, like, if like the individual like developer that they want to develop a games and run on Mythos, is this possible?
Yeah, you can say it's sort of like it's definitely possible. There are obviously costs to integrate directly into the marketplace and the tech and so on, because obviously there is a cost to have it running. But I think if I would definitely say anyone that is looking and at doing like high quality games, of getting in touch with us and have a discussion about how we can enable the Web3 economy in their game through the Mythical marketplace and the Mythical platform.
Are there any like builder incentive program for like builders who want to build on Mythos at this moment?
Currently, we do not have like builders grants and so on directly on the on Mythos as it is right now. I think it's one of these things that building high quality games is definitely something that does require a sound of the team. So we're more than happy to talk to teams that actually want to build and have the resources to do so. But I think the grants that we can give is probably different from what we have on like getting to get a fully funded high quality game out. It does take time, but definitely something that we are happy to help support, and we also have there are certain possibilities of discussing membership of the Mythos Foundation as well. If you look at the Mythos Foundation website, you can see there's quite a lot of different members of the Mythos Foundation from different game studios as well. So we do have a quite large community around that definitely can be of use also if you want to develop on Mythos.
From this image is mainly like cover the technical part of Mythos 2.0. But I'm curious, like, what is your macro strategic vision for Mythos, maybe like in 1-2 years?
Yeah, so really what we're seeing is I guess two, like if you can look at it from 2 different angles, right? Because you have the Mythical our own studio games, so NFL Rivals, FIFA Rivals, Pudgy Party, which you can say it's very much focusing on the game, making sure that the game is great, that people actually want to play it, and that the secondary economy in those games really work. And that secondary economy is what actually takes us into to the Mythical Market or the Mythical platform, and that's sort of really where you can also see that you can, as we talked about, getting third party games onto that platform and making sure that they can actually get a full Web3 economy in, and that we can support that through the Mythical chain. So really that's sort of like the 2 pillars to look at of how we're doing that. We're also starting to look into a bit more of the social element behind games, looking at the possibility of doing tournaments as well. So will be a lot more news about that in the very near future about some of these things that we can include to make the gaming experience on the Mythical platform even more enticing as it is today.
Thank you. Yeah, that also like run out of all the questions that I have for you, and that's a very like awesome presentations on Mythos. I wonder if like the audience have any questions for Kasper as well. Yeah, I think that's also the end of today's community call, and we really like thank you for like really thank you for coming to our community call and spending time with us, and really glad to learn more about Mythos, and also like hope that in the future we can have more chance to talk about Mythos if there are any like upcoming upgrade and also like upcoming games. And after this call, I will definitely like download some of the games on Mythos and we'll try it out because I really like impressed with like the account abstractions stuff on Mythos. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely just write out and yeah, also give us feedback. Like would love to hear feedback and or ideas. We're definitely very open to those things as well. And yeah, it's been great being here talking a bit about what's happening on Mythos and Mythical. And definitely like keep an eye out for what happens on chain in the next couple of weeks when we're talking really implementing the tokenomics 2.0 with fee burn and staking on chain, because all of a sudden there's a lot more additional stuff to do for especially like Web3 natives on Mythos chain. So you can both game, but you can also you participate in staking as well.
Okay. Yeah. So let's say like if I'm a new like what I can say like new Mythos user, so what do you recommend me to do like what kind of activities that you recommend us to work on?
I would say definitely the best way to start is to download NFL Rivals. Got that one has the full experience of what you can actually do. Try to play it out. Set up your Mythical Market account and try some of the swaps and the trading of some of your game items. And then of course there's Nitro Nation as well. That one will you can also buy your game items, and then you can also see there are certain items that are for sale on the secondary market. That market right now is a bit is a bit smaller than what you had on NFL Rivals, but NFL Rivals is definitely a great place to start. I would even say try to connect any wallet to your Mythical Marketplace account and get some myth into your Mythical Marketplace account, play around with it, and basically sort of learn how it works. And it's a good training for what will happen with Potty Party and with FIFA Rivals later this year.
Thank you. Yeah, that's also the end of today's community call, and hope to see you soon. Thank you,
Awesome.
and have a
Thank you
good
very much.